Good morning. Very nice to know that you're there. Good morning. First of all, I would like just to remind you the wonderful possibility, the wonderful benefit to sit for meditation for 5 or 10 minutes every day. What we do here these Wednesday mornings is longer and it's more complex, but the daily meditation doesn't need to be so long or so complex. Just to have the habit of sitting, if it's possible, sit always in the same place. If you can prepare or have ready a little spot, it could even be in your room, but a little spot in which you are alone and you can have some silence, and just to be comfortable, so you have a little place that you feel okay in it, and you do it every day for 10 minutes. You just close your eyes and sit there and try either to stop your thoughts or follow your breath. Just be there for those 10 minutes. Sometimes you can do a longer or a more complex meditation, but regularly, just something very simple. Just having the habit of sitting every day in silence for 5 or 10 minutes. I very highly recommend you to try to do that. I was thinking for this morning, there is this idea of going inside. What does it mean, going inside? You know, we spend most of our time looking outside, looking at the world, being distracted by the world, paying all our attention out into the world. By the world, I mean other people, situations, problems, hopes, ideas, desires. All our attention is always directed outside, very rarely directed to the body, only when when we look at the skin, or we look at the hair, or we look at the dress, or we look physically the way we look. Unless we have some pain, then we go a little bit deeper and we pay attention to the tummy or to the shoulder or whatever is painful in the moment. And that's where most of our attention is directed. But at a certain point in our life, we realize that something is missing. Something is missing. And so one of the first directions that we receive is, instead of focusing all your attention out, turn the attention and start to focus the attention in. Now, what is this inside? Sometimes in my classes I joke, looking inside doesn't mean to look at the bones, look at the blood inside, look at the organs. Not really. That could be a possibility, but usually doesn't really mean that. And so in this meditation, I would like to do that trip of looking inside. And I sought to try to go little by little, deeper and deeper. Each of these places in which we will stop can be a meditation in itself. So we will go to the body, the more superficial part of the body, the more inner part of the body. We go to the mind. We will go little by little and different parts. But just to tell you, each one of these parts could be a meditation in itself, and it could be a wonderful meditation. But today we are going to keep going deeper and deeper and deeper. At least that's what we will try. So if you want to sit in a comfortable position, you don't have to be seated on the floor. You can easily sit on a chair. It's perfectly all right. But what is important is that you keep your spine long. That is fundamental. Keep the spine long, keep the chest open, keep the neck long. So basically, don't slouch. But if you want to sit on a chair, if you want to put your back against the wall or something to make it more comfortable, that's perfectly all right. Close your eyes. And start to connect with this moment. Start to notice this moment. Start to hear the sounds. With your eyes closed, start to notice the space around you. You cannot see what is around you, but you can feel, you can notice what is around you. So just do that. You will start to feel the temperature, if you're comfortable, if it's too hot, if it's too cold. You will feel if you feel at peace with the space around you, if you feel comfortable with it or not. Notice the sounds or the silence that you perceive in the space around you. And start to connect to your breathing. Just notice that there is air coming in and air going out. Start to notice the very beginning of the inhalation. See that it goes up until a peak, and then the inhalation will finish, and right there the exhalation will start. And the exhalation goes down until there is no more air, and then again a new inhalation starts. It ends, the exhalation starts, it ends. And try to keep following. Just follow this cycle of beginnings and ends, beginnings and ends. If thoughts appear in your mind, if distractions appear in your mind, it's not a problem. Just the moment you realize, come back to the breath. We will spend a few moments just following the breath as a way to quiet the mind. And then we will start with this trip going inside of ourselves. But for a while we will just notice the breathing, which, by the way, just noticing the breath, it can be a great meditation. Just simply following the breath, not allowing the thoughts to take you away from the breath, and keep bringing the mind back over and over. That in itself is a great meditation. Come back to the breath. Let the air come in, let the air go out. If you need to take a deeper breath, please do that. But otherwise, don't really control your breathing. Just let it happen. Let the breath happen on its own. In a sense, the breathing is not like the heart. The heart is something that works on its own, and there is not much we can do. But with the breathing, we have some control. If we think about it, we can make the breathing longer or shorter or deeper. But right now, just completely let it go. Just allow the natural breath to settle in. We are not going anywhere, really. We are just simply following the breath. If you get distracted by a thought, by a worry, by a memory, when you realize, bring the mind back into the breath. Just allow for this meditation not to be too distracted by these thoughts. That's your aim. That's what you want. So you can say to the thought, not right now. Right now, I am following my breath. As we start this so-called trip going inside, at any moment, if you feel that you're getting distracted by your thoughts, by your worries, just return to the breath. Use the breathing as an anchor to bring you back into the moment. There is nothing wrong with getting distracted. If there is something wrong, is to feel bad because I got distracted. Getting distracted it happens to everybody all the time. There is nothing wrong in it. Just simply the moment you realize that you got distracted, bring the mind back into the breath. That's all. Now, we will start to pay attention to the body. In particular, start to pay attention to tensions in the body. Notice your hands and relax your hands. If you feel that the fingers are moving, notice the tension, notice the energy that is stuck in the hands. And let this energy move through the arms, through the trunk, through the legs. Relax your arms, relax your hands and your fingers. Relax your shoulders. Relax your tummy. Relax your face. We could say that the first destination of going inside is to notice the body and to relax the tensions that appear in the body. As I often say in my classes, tension is not a problem. Tension is very useful because tension is what allows us to move, to do anything. But tension that is not necessary, that is the problem. To do this meditation, you need some tension to keep your spine long, tension on your shoulders, tension on your face. It's not necessary. So the first step is notice this tension and let it go. We can go deeper and start to see that, for example, if I mention the shoulders, the shoulder is a name that we give to a part of our body. But when we say the word shoulders, we create an image in our mind. See if you can, for example, pay attention to what we call the shoulders, but don't go into the image in your mind. Experience your shoulders without thinking about your shoulders. Notice your arms, your hands, but then take away the name. What do you find? Don't go into the image that you have in your mind. What do you find? Notice the trunk, the part that we call the trunk, but stay away from the image in your mind. What do you find? There is an aliveness, there is an energy. But it's an aliveness, an energy that doesn't have a form, doesn't have a shape. Connect to your body without the image of your body. There is something there. But if you don't go back to your memory, to what you know from before, what do you find? There is this beautiful aliveness, vibration, energy. But it doesn't have a form, it doesn't have a shape. If you get distracted, come back to the breath. Over and over, use the breath at any time throughout the meditation. At any time, when you need to, return to the breath. And then, from the breath, right now, connect to the body, but without thinking about the body. This alive sensation, this vibrating sensation. Just connecting to this inner body, as I call it, can be in itself a meditation. Actually, we did this meditation, it's called the inner body. This is going inside. First, to notice the tensions of the body, and then to connect with this inner body, these sensations that make up our body. If you get distracted, return to the breath and stay there for a while. And then from the breath, go on into whatever it is that we are paying attention to. Right now, this inner body, this body with no shape, no form. Now we've got a little bit deeper and we start to pay attention to the mind. The mind is thoughts. The mind expresses as thoughts and emotions. But even the emotions are first created through a thought. There is a thought or a belief, and through that thought or belief, an emotion is created. But just for now, start to pay attention to the thoughts that appear in your mind. If there is no thought, just notice the silence in the mind. When a thought appears, try not to become the thought. Becoming the thought means that you disappear in the thought. It's like if you're watching a movie and you get so into the movie that you forget that the movie is a movie. If it is a movie, that's a good way to watch a movie because it becomes more intense. But now we thought, although this could happen too, and this is what often happens, that we become so identified with the thought that it's like we get lost inside the thought. But right now, try to keep like a gap between you and the thought. When you disappear in the thought, you disappear from this moment. It's like you don't know anymore that you are here doing a meditation, hearing my voice. If you thought about your office, you are not physically, but for all we know, you are really in the office, talking with some person, having a problem. It's like if you disappear from this moment and you are lost in that thought. What we try to do now is keep this sense of I am here, and at the same time be aware that there is a thought appearing in your mind. This noticing thought can be a meditation in itself. Just becoming aware of the thought. And you can do a meditation just in noticing which kind of thoughts appear and observing the quality of the thoughts. that can be a meditation in itself. Or noticing that you are not the thoughts, that you are aware of the thoughts, that the thoughts are not you. Just to see that can be a meditation in itself. And actually we do a meditation, we did a meditation like this, it's called the two handles. But now we're going to go deeper, deeper inside. And just notice that when we look at the world outside, we can use, like, imagine that we look at the world outside through a telescope. It's like we are looking through a telescope and we see a world outside. The telescope can be the mind. And when we look inside, like we notice the body and we notice the thoughts, it's like if we are looking through a microscope. Again, the microscope is the mind, but we are looking, the mind is looking into the mind, or the mind is looking at the body. So it's like we are always either looking through a telescope outside to the world outside, or we look through a microscope to the world inside. And our attention is mostly outside, and very rarely it goes inside. But sometimes it goes. But what we don't notice is who is the one that is looking through either the telescope or the microscope. Who is looking? What is looking? For example, let's go back and pay attention to the sounds outside. Just notice the sounds outside. We could say, just as an image, that we are hearing through a telescope. Maybe there is a car passing by, you hear some voices. We could say that we are looking through a telescope. Or turn the attention the other way around, pay attention to the body, pay attention to the thoughts. And we could say, just as an image, that we are looking through a microscope. Through the microscope also we can notice the emotions. How do you feel right now? Maybe you feel more at peace. Maybe you feel more anxious, tense. That's also looking through the microscope. But what is looking through the telescope or through the microscope? Bring attention to the one is looking. But notice that if you pay attention, it's like looking through a microscope. Who is looking? What is looking to that microscope? Notice that something different happens when you want to see the one that is looking. Like for the sounds, you can hear the sounds. There is a distance. For the thoughts, for the body, there is a distance. But when it comes to the one that is looking, how do you pay attention to that? Because if you pay attention to, then who is the one that is paying attention to? Try to understand what I'm saying. To pay attention, it has to be two things. It has to be the one that is paying attention and the thing that you're paying attention to. Like a sound is a thing, and there is you paying attention to the sound. The body is a thing, and there is you paying attention to the body. To the thought, there is you, and there is you paying attention to the thought. But paying attention to the one that is paying attention. What do you do? Just to give it, the one that is paying attention is called I. Another name for the one that is paying attention is awareness. Another name is consciousness. How do you pay attention to this I? How do you pay attention to this awareness, to this consciousness? Remember, if you get lost, come back to the breath. Do that. And then from the breath, after you spend some time, come back to the one that is noticing, to the one that is paying attention, to this I, to this awareness. You cannot really pay attention to it. But what happens is when you try to pay attention, what you find is being. You cannot pay attention, you can only be. You can only be I. You can only be awareness. You can only be consciousness. Try to see what I mean by this. And try to see also something very interesting. You cannot go any deeper than this being. Remember, we started paying attention to the sounds, then we went deeper, pay attention to the body, then we went deeper, paying attention to the inner body, then we went deeper, pay attention to the mind, pay attention to the thoughts, to the emotions. And then we arrive to the one that is looking. But see that you cannot go any deeper because wherever you pay attention to, it has to pass first through this I. Wherever you pay attention to, if you want to go any deeper, to pay attention, you have to pass through this I. And then the I can pay attention to whatever you think that you want to pay attention to. But that's the end of the road. I is the end of the road. I as this awareness, as this consciousness. Beingness is the end of the road. See that from this I, you can go to the grossest thing, to the heaviest thing, like a whole planet, or a whole galaxy, or a whole universe. You can pay attention to a whole universe. Or you can go the other way around and pay attention to the smallest particle, to a string or to a quark. You can go further out or further in. But it's always this I that is at the end of the road. And from this I, you can notice the further galaxy, or you can notice the smaller particle. But it's always this I, this awareness. Stay in it. Stay in this being. For example, if you get distracted with a thought, notice that the thought doesn't appear alone. The thought appears together with I. If there is no I, there is no thought. If you want to pay attention to a sound, notice that the sound doesn't come on its own. For the sound to be there, I has to be there. This awareness has to be there. Just for the last minute of this meditation. If you need to, go back to the breath and stay for the whole minute just following the breath. If you can, notice what is it that is looking at the breath. What is it? Is this I? Stay in I. Stay in being. And just very slowly, allow more air to come in, more air to go out. Just start to move your shoulders, start to move your arms, stretch your body. When you're ready, open your eyes. Have a few minutes if you like to make a comment about the meditation we just did, or if you have a question, please write it down in the live chat. Also, of course, just noticing the I or being the I can be a meditation on its own. But sometimes it takes some time to reach that I. The I is always there. It cannot not be. It's always there. But it's just is kind of clouded. It's like the sun. It's always there, but sometimes it's clouded. There is a lot of clouds, so we cannot see it. The I is always there. It cannot not be. But it's often covered by all the distractions of the world or the many thoughts in our mind. Okay. If there are no comments or questions, thank you very much. If you enjoy the meditation, please give it a like. And Maybe I will see some of you tonight. We have what I call the evening with presence. We will be talking about different subjects related to presence. And maybe I see some of you tomorrow also for the yoga class. I will just wait for a few more seconds if something appears in the live chat. She says, it is not easy not to be disappointed if something does not work out as I think it should. Yes, it may not be easy, but it's something that we need to learn. To me, the most important thing about the meditation is that it is what it is. And so whatever happens, I can learn from it. So being disappointed is a habit. It's not a reality. It's only a habit. It's the idea that things should be the way I think they are. But things happen the way they should happen, according to the bigger picture of existence. Every second is not just my thought of what it is, but every second that happens is the combination of the whole existence appearing as this moment right now. And so whatever happens is what it should happen. It cannot not happen. And so it's like if we're doing a meditation and we don't do much meditation, we cannot expect anything else than exactly what happens. So to be disappointed is to be, in a sense, is not to be connected with this sense of, with the whole of existence, which of course we are not connected to that. And because of that, we get disappointed. But disappointment is only a point of view, it's only a thought in the mind. It's important to not to believe this disappointing thought. It's just a thought. And the thought is not the truth, it's only a point of view. Every thought is only a point of view. Some thoughts are further from the truth, some thoughts are a bit closer from truth. No thought is the truth. And so a thought like disappointment is a thought that is further away from the truth. Closer to the truth is a thought that takes into account the whole. So, I mean, I understand, I promise you, I understand very well the disappointing thought. But it's just a bad habit, and we need to think about the habit and get rid of that particular habit. There are habits that are good. For example, to create the habit for a 10 minutes meditation, a daily 10-minute meditation, is a very good habit. The habit of brushing your teeth every day in the morning is a very good habit. The habit of a disappointing thought is a bad habit. A beautiful question, Madeleine. She says, why is it that the I does not seem to want to stay in the I? Just lack of practice. The word that you say there is very good, Madeleine, is seem. The I doesn't seem to want to stay in the I, but the I is always there. It's just that it's our mind, the one that is too busy, too distracted, that it starts to function. And when the mind functions, the noticing of the I seemingly disappear. Seemingly disappear. You know, the I is like the screen of a movie. Like right now, you're looking at the computer. Were you aware that you're looking at the screen? No, you are not aware. The screen is right there, but because you have the image of me right now, it's like I distract you from the noticing of the screen. But when you look at me in the computer, you're actually looking at the screen, but you don't realize because you didn't thought about it, because you don't really care about the screen. You care about what appears on the screen. The eye is like the screen. So the eye is always there. It's just, as you say, as a lack of practice. Like if I want to see the screen right now, I will not see it as a lack of practice. I will see only what appears. I will see only, in this case, my face, or I will see some words, or I will see a movie. But if I want to start to see the screen, I need to remind myself that wherever I look at it, I am also looking at the screen. And it's the same with eye. The eye is always there. It's never out. It's never not there. But we are too distracted with what appears in front of it. That's one way to say it. It is a wonderful practice to return to this eye. But remember, you cannot really pay attention to. That's the only thing that cannot be paid attention to. You can only be. You are the eye. You are the awareness. Okay. Thank you very much. I will leave this meditation in YouTube so you can go back to it anytime you want to. Thank you. Have a very nice morning. Have a very nice day.